Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Dear Secretary General, dear Alain, Madam Secretary General of the Assembly, dear Despina, ambassadors, members of the Assembly, dear colleagues, honorable former presidents of this Assembly, I wish to start by expressing my gratitude for re-electing me as a president of this Assembly for a second term. I also consider my re-election as a vote of confidence and approval of the work I have been doing since becoming vice president in January 2024. As you know, dear colleagues, I have consistently invested in raising the status of this Assembly, increasing respect for our values, principles, and standards, expanding the outreach and impact of our work, while also promoting dialogue and search for meaningful compromises without compromising with our values. In my inaugural speech last year, I identified increasing the visibility of our Assembly as a key priority. I'm pleased to see tangible results, with media interest in our work significantly rising. From 2023 to 2024, international media coverage of PACE sessions grew up by 60%, reflecting both the importance of our Assembly's effort and our enhanced ability to communicate our achievements to the public. Strengthening dialogue with our partners is another priority of mine, which I took very seriously this year. Over these months, I have held overall 412 bilateral meetings, namely 100 ambassadors, many of whom I met more than once, which demonstrates the willingness of the Assembly to strengthen cooperation with the Committee of Ministers. 84 delegation members, fulfilling my intention to work closely with national representatives of our 46 member states. 81 other meetings, ranging from the presidents of parliamentary assemblies of NATO and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, to the Commissioner for Human Rights, to European Court of Human Rights, and many others. 39 chairpersons of our political groups and national delegations, many of whom more than once. 37 ministers of our 46 member states, reinforcing the synergies between the Assembly and the Committee of Ministers. 21 presidents of national parliaments, deepening the collaboration of the Assembly and its country's parliament. 16 presidents of countries, prime ministers, and deputy prime ministers. 12 secretary generals and deputy secretary generals of international institutions, among them the Secretary General of the United Nations. 11 human rights representatives, 8 United Nations officials beyond the Secretary General, and I also had the honor to visit Pope Francis in the Vatican last November and welcome the Ecumenical Patriarch yesterday here in Strasbourg. Last but not least, over these 12 months, I traveled to 40 cities across 3 continents, namely Europe, Africa, and America, to convey our ideals, standards, and best practices in official authorities, civil society, and every individual as possible. We are also, dear colleagues, developing new media tools and manuals for new members of the PACE, which are already available to all of you. We need to be more visible, not for ourselves, but for the principles we fight for. Dear colleagues, entering the issues of high priority for our Assembly, I begin with the ongoing Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. I have worked tirelessly with all of you to ensure that this war does not become normalized and that our Assembly remains focused and decisive. Every session's agenda has included debates on various aspects of the war, resulting in meaningful resolutions. Supporting Ukraine and working with international actors to restore peace and justice remains my primary commitment. Also, as you know, the so-called elections took place yesterday in Belarus, with Mr. Lukashenko reconfirmed himself as the country's ruler. We will discuss this matter later this week, and it is indeed very symbolic that this bogus election coincides with the first ever participation of the delegation of the Belarusian opposition in the work of our Assembly. I wish to welcome them and stress that their presence in our hemicycle is an important signal we send to the people of Belarus that Europe has not forgotten them. Problems concerning the respect of human rights in some of our member countries, problems concerning the regression of democratic ideals, the democratic backslide, problems concerning immigration, equality, discrimination against our fellow citizens because of their different racial or personal identity, will continue to concern us this year. A key challenge is the impact of artificial intelligence. Parliamentary Assembly adopted the Council of Europe AI Convention in September 2024. This year, I plan to organize an international event to explore AI's impact on democracy, engaging global and European actors to address these cross-border challenges collaboratively. After my election last year, I proposed the creation of an AI-based tool to support Assembly members. I'm proud to announce today that this tool is now ready to assist all of you. On our website, under the Resolution tab, you will find an AI-generated summary section that offers concise overviews of key issues and decisions, allowing readers to grasp the main points in less than 2 minutes, enhancing transparency. We have also improved efficiency with AI text-to-speech tools for plenary session minutes, speeding up debate report publication and streamlining multilingual processes. This reflects our commitment to innovation and best practices in parliamentary work. I extend heartfelt thanks to the team led by General Secretary Despina Hadjivasiliou for ensuring the project's success within a year and setting the stage for future advancements. I'm also deeply indebted to all staff and colleagues of the Assembly who have worked tirelessly alongside me. Dear colleagues, last year I started that we in this Assembly stand with the oppressed and not the oppressors, advocating for more diplomacy and less conflict in these turbulent times. While we often praise my motherland, ancient Athens, and the democracy which was invented there, today I want to reflect on a darker chapter of Athenian democracy history, the dialogue of the Athenians with the Milesians, found in Thukydides' history book number 5. It recounts the debate between Athens and the neutral island of Milos during the Peloponnesian War, 416 before Christ. The Athenians, portrayed as pragmatic and cynical, argued the power determines law, while the weaker Milesians appealed to morality. When negotiations failed, the Athenians besieged Milos, executed the men, and enslaved the women and children, an act of cruelty emblematic of hegemonic arrogance. Did the Athenians pay for this cynicism? Yes, they did. Their actions contributed to their downfall, starting with their catastrophic Sicilian campaign 415, just a year later, and eventually defeat by Sparta. The collapse of Athenian hegemony is a stark reminder of how arrogance and oppression can lead to isolation and ruin. The symbolism is timeless, as I already said. This is what we have to counteract. We must resist cynicism. We must resist everything that undermines democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. This year, we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Human Rights Convention. Let's give our best to support our principles against cynicism and anti-democratic obsessions. Thank you.
Sparta, would you like very much?
Yes.